Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandez, and...
I'm Chris J. Wardner. Hello.
And today we're going to head down to the Chuckle Hut and review, but seriously, folks, this is the last episode that Penny Marshall directed for the show, and it was written by Jeff Franklin. I'm sure Chris has some kind of facts about Jeff, even though we talk about Jeff a lot and about Penny a lot later on in the episode.
Yeah, we got a little bit going on there.
Yeah. Here's what the episode's about. Carmine bores the heck out of the gang while telling a story at Laverne Shirley's slideshow party. But he informs them that his last client, the booker at the Comedy Jungle, really thinks he'd be a good comic. Shirley nudges Carmine into performing at the club's open mic nights, and Lenny and Squiggy sign him up as a client. But Carmine's stage fright nearly does him in, until he turns to insult comedy, mainly insulting his friends to their faces. The zany ragu becomes a hit, but he alienates everyone who loves him, leaving Carmine to choose between his newfound popularity and his Milwaukee friends. So what do you think of this episode?
What the hell was that? I mean, this is one of those weird episodes that has a lot of interesting ideas in it, some cute ideas, some really good jokes right next to some really bad ones, and it also is ultimately kind of unsatisfying, even though it has some high notes that I really liked. The slideshow party at the beginning is adorable. There's so many good lines in it. There's the whole Mr. Bunny. There's like the whole swapping of the photos. They end up in the middle of it. There's it's like, okay, we're getting to the bikini picnic and the picnic at the beach. Excuse me, bikinis. Bikinis. And then these Japanese tourist photos got mixed in.
Yeah.
And I love the exchange. Shirley going, "Who are these new friends of yours, Laverne?" And Lenny goes, "How come they get to go to Disneyland?"
I know. Well, you already been to Disneyland with her. But yeah, I feel like this episode would be better, but if it taking place over like a span of a week, instead of just it all happens in one night and he immediately makes a decision the same night. So this is me.
It's just pretty much like everything happens very suddenly. Because I mean, there's at the very least, the only like real jumps is like they go from the first night of the party to the or the evening of the party, and then they go to probably the following night at the comedy club, and then this very much follows the old formula that we saw in the Milwaukee years, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like they did a lot with that in the old days, where it was basically 3 scenes, and that was the entire episode. So the three act structure was almost done like a play, where each scene was an act. Yeah,
this one takes place in only 2 sets.
Pretty much.
We get 2 sets. We get the Comedy Jungle and we get the girls' apartment. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very cheap.
It's a very
cheap episode. Yeah.
Yeah, very compact. Though I think most of the extras are familiar Marshall vs. extras that we've seen in this comedy club.
Actually, as a matter of fact, even the heckler, that's Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Frances Peach.
Yay! We love her.
Yep.
Down up in a wig and sunglasses to look unrecognizable, so to speak.
Right.
But we recognize her.
Yeah, we knew it was somebody.
Yep, we did.
And actually, even in the MC, Martin Braverman, the MC/owner of the place.
Yeah.
It looks like this was his second appearance on the show. He was one of the acts cut from one of the acts that got axed from the DVD edits of Second Annual Talent Show. He was credited there as Marvin. And there is a guy who kind of looks a little like him that is backstage with the girls when they're just about ready to go out and do the monkey dance.
Yes, I think he sings a song that got cut for copyright reasons.
Ah, possible.
In that episode, I think he has something with his eyes. He drums on his eyes, and I can't remember. Can't remember because it's been years since I've seen it unexpunged. I fear.
But yeah, exactly. So it's like this very low budget, and it's not to say that the budget or anything or the cheapness of it is a disservice. It's about what do you do with that within those confines. And there are these wonderful little zingers. The boys get great lines like I want to see if any of them get eaten by Rodan and Squiggy, and any shots of Raymond Burr in there.
Oh, I love that. David, that is pure. That had to have been pure David. David kept sticking in one-liners and jokes about Raymond Burr throughout the show.
Oh, totally.
Apparently just to crack Michael up, apparently.
And the thing is, the way that everyone gets razzed is mean, but there are some of them that are funny. The whole, Frank talking like a garbage disposal.
Yeah.
That pays off brilliantly,
Yeah.
and Phil's clearly having fun playing it up.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
and then and then there's these moments where it either goes wrong or it feels like it stops short. Is the big issue.
I think the problem is that it gets too personal with the girls specifically, because he has gone at least to third base with Shirley at this time. He's calling her frigid on a stage in front of a bunch of strangers.
Yep.
That takes it too far. There's a difference between joking about Edna being married a lot of times when Edna's married now happily to Frank.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, you know. The jab he makes to Lenny is very mild. Baby Pig's tail is, the eyelids inside out is an old joke. But he basically calls Laverne a whore in front of her father and a bunch of strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls his girlfriend Frigid, who he moved across the country to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
And they named a card game after them, Old Maid.
Yeah. Port Laverne is worse. Port Laverne is way worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's awful. I actually love that there's, as that's winding down, Laverne sneaks in the line, it's like they name a game after him, Pin the Tail on the Jackass, which I'm really surprised S&P didn't, they let that get through because, even though... Because, Jackass, as folks know out there, is indeed, it's phrase for donkey, so she's saying pin the tail on the donkey, but she is calling, that's an interesting slip.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was in the script, but boom.
Yep.
She deserved it, he deserved it, That's all I can say.
Oh, totally. Yeah, God, and Squiggy's monologue afterwards is phenomenal.
David, that's another great monologue that David gets.
Mm-hmm.
David gets a lot of great monologues in this season. In season 5, he just goes for it. He just nails it to the wall, and he just has a lot of fun. We'll have other children.
No, we won't.
I love it. And the boys feeding each other popcorn, which is fun.
Yeah, that's super cute. Yep. It's weird, I don't know. It's just, it feels like such a half-baked mess. It
feels like they could have either gone more firmly into the meanness, or they could have dialed it backwards. They need more time.
Yeah.
You need more time.
Yeah. And as far as I could tell, it's a full episode. I believe the DVD version. Actually, let me check. I actually have the drive still plugged in here, so I have my rip from the DVD. So I will check the length. But yeah, as far as I know, this was not trimmed for. I mean, maybe there's a syndication edit, but let me just find out.
There are a few syndication edits where certain things are trimmed out or certain things are left in.
25 minutes and 7 seconds. That sounds like a full-size episode to me. So, like, a couple of seconds, sure, for the... Because it feels like there's a syndication edit around the Shadow Puppet, but that's Mr. Bunny, but that's it.
Ah, okay. I was just ironically going through differences on the DVD versus VHS, and I noticed on the DVD, Sing 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 is the only episode that doesn't have an episodic promo on it, which is annoying. It just made me think of that. Made it pop into my head. Flaming colors. But yeah. Mr. Bunny, there needed to be more. There needs to be more. Like, maybe it takes a couple of days and everybody stops speaking to Carmine, and he goes on stage and he insults other people and he gets his butt beaten up.
Yeah,
something like that.
Oh, totally.
Where he learns a lesson the hard way. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that he realizes he went too far, and but I guess because the thing is, there's this bit where Rhonda, and this is a very, like, the way Jeff writes Rhonda, this is very very much in that line. She thinks it's a riot. Which my note is, of course she does, the gossipy bitch.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean. Rhonda gets better as time goes on.
That's fine. But yeah, after this, and to tell the truth, I'm just like, wow. She just lives for the drama that she can then find ways to exploit. But I mean, she asks, where's your sense of humor? Which, as somebody who's been picked on a lot in the name of someone else's entertainment, I hate that phrase, and my answer to that is, it died with your virginity a long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah. That, I know, but the thing is that this is the problem I guess I have with insult comedy in general, is that there is a sense that anything goes. And the catch is that the point of it being, you can be insultingly comedic or insulting for the sake of comedy, But then there's the line that gets crossed into just being insult, and the comedy just completely disappears. Because if it's only funny to one person, which is you, it's not you're not doing your fucking job. You know?
Yeah. Like, you have to know what you're doing.
Right.
You have to know what you're doing. Carmine doesn't know what he's doing. Carmine's just randomly jabbing his friends for attention.
Mm-hmm. And the fact to use their real names is also the thing, because there's tons of people that will make terrible, you know, jokes at the expense of their family and friends and etc. But they find ways to frame it around. Like, I remember watching a Russell Peters special, and he was making all these jokes about his wife, and I was thinking, this guy's going to be divorced soon. And sure enough, less than in 2 years after that special, boom, dude was on the market again.
Well, we all know who that happened to recently, too, as well.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But the whole career about insulting his wife, then went to rehab, then slept with a woman right out of rehab, and now has a son with her.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that line being drawn, and then they all figure out they just need to lighten up, not take themselves too seriously, and then they forgive him for feeling awful, and he's just like, I'm never going to do comedy again. I won't be a comic. I'll just go back to being a singer. It's like, what the hell is the message to this? What is the point of this? What is even the personal lesson he's learning?
Yeah. The lesson is supposed to be, don't be mean to your friends and stay true to your talents. The trouble is that the other Aesop is, don't take it personally when it's just a joke. You can't have both Aesops in the same episode.
Yeah.
Either the gang's supposed to learn that it's okay to make fun of each other in this way, and they need to stop taking everything so seriously, or Carmine needs to learn that making fun of your friends makes you an a-hole.
Yep.
You can't have both happen at the same time, and this is what's happening at the same time. It's like we need to get Carmine back on his entertainment trajectory, as we just did in To Tell the Truth. That's why that whole bit with him and Laverne happened. We're starting to get him more into doing stuff entertainment-wise in his career. But along the way, the messages don't make sense. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Either everybody should have been sad and he should apologize to them, or they could have laughed at themselves, gone back to the club, and then they start pouring other people out in the crowd to make fun of. Those are two options.
Yeah.
Like, with this kind of story, there's your options.
And it's also, it doesn't make it clear, I think, enough that, you know, part of the setup in the first scene is he's getting picked on. I mean, it's like no one cares about his story, no one cares about his jokes or whatever. Yep. And then when he dishes it back, they can't take it.
Yeah.
That's another part of the episode that feels kind of clunky in the way it's executed, I think. And this really comes from a writing perspective. I think the actors do fine with all the pieces of material that are there.
Yeah.
It's almost like there is sometimes a setup with either an unsatisfactory payoff or an unrefined payoff, or I guess result to that conclusion. So there's all these different layers to the, you know, as we're saying, there's many different options, and it almost kind of feels like they ended up with too many of those different options being the result. And it kind of, I don't know, the phrase "jack of all trades, master of none" almost kind of comes to mind here, because the goal of the episode feels very clear at the very end when he goes back to singing and nobody cares and no one shows up to the comedy club. But the manager tells him, "You're really talented. I knew this was going to happen when I booked you to sing. I don't care. I believe in you." That is the meaningful part of the episode to me.
Yeah. That
is completely, like, it's like an out of left field surprise.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time we've actually heard someone genuinely, and it's a really well performed delivery too of him saying that. So it just feels like there's not enough to build to that point, and that the other elements aren't guiding us towards that. So it's like the only reason Carmine doesn't enjoy doing comedy is because it makes his friends unhappy, and that feels disingenuous then if what he is a singer.
Yeah. And it's also not like he'd be sitting there insulting his friends every single gig.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He would potentially have to branch out there.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to tell that story, they didn't tell it the right way. It's very messy. The whole thing is messy. The best way I can describe it. He did not bother to explain, as you said, why the hell he would even stop singing in the first place. And it's only one night. It only lasts for one night. It needs to last for more night. It feels like it's something he dabbled in, but it's supposed to be a huge deal. He dabbles in it for one night, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird, man.
Weird, man, weird. I'm gonna say, oh yeah. I love how Shirley runs a snack bar at her own movie night.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course she does.
Oh yeah, yeah. With junior mints, no less.
Achievements, yeah. And orange drinks. Lots of tang. I love that everybody looks great. The outfits are really great.
Oh
Shirley's
yeah.
wearing my favorite check dress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice dress. I love that dress.
Which is,
Yeah.
I just sorry to interject. This was another thing that also felt like it was kind of an interesting idea, and it's perfectly executed, but it doesn't go anywhere. Is Cindy as Shirley doing the voice recorder news report thing?
Yes. That's fun.
There are so many subtle like bits in that she is having so much fun with, and it doesn't go any like. I wish.
know.
Yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah. The recording should at least lead into something.
Yep.
It just exists for no real reason other than to give Cindy something to do in the scenes, give Shirley something to do in the plot.
Right.
I love that Rhonda just grabs the microphone with joy. Actress, singer, madame, actor,
Oh, I love it.
madam. Anyway, do you notice all those Ronald Reagan jokes? Reagan had just been inaugurated president recently, so we're gonna get more Reagan jokes.
Oh yeah, tons of those. Yeah, and there's that line. What is that? Any friend of Bonzo's got my vote, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, Lenny, honey, I can't imagine voting for Reagan. I don't think he would. Squiggy would.
yeah, Squiggy would.
Squiggy voted for Nixon. He voted for Reagan.
Yep. Oh man.
If, as Michael has often said, they both survived Vietnam. Every time he brings
Yeah.
it up.
Oh.
Every time he brings it up, why? I don't want to imagine Lenny drowning in a rice paddy in Da Nang, okay?
Well, hey, at least it's not like he was at the My Lai massacre or anything.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Okay. Drag things back in. An Uncanny Nanny. This is the second time we get to see Eddie Mecca do a goat impression.
Yes.
That means it's 90%. They were 90% sure that had to have been on his little sheets of talent thing. Those little talent sheet that he had given to Gary Marshall. Gary, as we've said before, he gave everybody index cards. Said, write down everything you can do. We'll give this to the writers, and they will weave these talents into the program. And so it was. Michael juggled, and obviously his musical skills ended up getting involved in the show. Maybe seeing some play. And he dancing and singing, and his impressions. Penny's dancing, or tap dancing, all different kinds of dance you could do. And Cindy actually developed the singing voice that you hear by season 6 by taking voice lessons. So it's interesting. I wonder what she put down on her list. Maybe that she could do a handstand.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe like
like
the puppet stuff and the the Dr. Getwell thing may have come from that.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, the goat thing is cute, and I do like the idea that it's the in-joke that they all love, but it doesn't translate, even though he's able to do it while See, the fact he can do it while dancing is definitely the sign that like he goes so wholeheartedly into this effort without developing the act.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that comes down to the very, like, the odds are so stacked against Carmine to fail in this episode, and yet he also kind of awkwardly succeeds at the insult comedy thing. That it feels, a very mixed messaging.
Yeah.
Because I can see him coming in as like, as a zany ragu, and then, because imagine introducing the zany ragu, and he comes in doing the goat accent, and the idea is it gets the big laugh at first, and then that's all he's got, and he realizes he's come up with nothing else because he was trying to perfect the one bit.
That could be kind of like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart accidentally becomes I didn't do it boy.
Right.
And he becomes known for this one thing. He tries to kick the branch out and to seem erudite in the press and to get a different joke, but nobody wants to hear it. And then eventually nobody finds the joke funny anymore.
Yep.
That's what they could have done. So you can do something like that. Yeah. Lenny has human desk. Adorable.
Yeah, that was very cute. I love that. Yep. Yeah, I marked it as a table, but a desk is probably more accurate.
Yes, well, he's too slim and singular to be a full table. Oh, gosh. Shirley's being both the best and the worst girlfriend in this episode, that she's pushing so hard for Carmine to do this and to use his talent to become famous. And then he does it, and he does it at her expense, and then she flees. That's an interesting little note on their dynamic, I think.
It is, and part of it also, I wonder, is also how Shirley is interesting in that she hasn't really, quote unquote, taken advantage of Carmine, like, asking for tons of favors and stuff like that, in a few years, all things considered. Because I know in the earlier seasons, he was always doing stuff for the girls, like he was going to get the pizza, walking through the snow with the pizza, helping them find the car, find work, or, need this, need that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he does come back in a big way to do a favor in the next episode, which I wish. Well, we'll get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself with that, but I feel like he hasn't done a lot necessarily straight for her in terms of the favor thing, and so I wonder if there's a sense of like she thinking I haven't asked you all of these things. She didn't ask him to come to California. He did it of his own volition because he wanted to be with her. So it just, I don't know. It leaves me curious as to whether that is part of it from a character building perspective, or if it's just, writing that doesn't quite land.
I think I'm going to guess that's writing that doesn't quite land. Because it feels like they're kind of nudging at dynamics and pointing at dynamics and just doesn't flow.
Yeah.
We needed more sauce.
Yeah. Anywho. But yeah, as mentioned in terms of the writing, behind the camera stuff, this actually is, as mentioned, Jeff's second to last episode of the show as a writer. His final one actually comes at the end of the season. Now, we'll have more factoids. I'll go into it more at that time, but we'll say around this point he was already a producer on the show and was working as a producer behind the scenes of Bosom Buddies as well, as that was kind of getting off the ground. And I'm curious if that's also part of the element, is that he was kind of stretched so thin, because, producing is really challenging. You are balancing so much material and so much work. And when I say material, I mean, like, you're talking meetings and getting, numbers crunched. And it's not, a lot of folks say, oh, producing is just delegation. Oh, no, it's not. It is convincing people personally why they should do a thing, or organizing all that stuff. It's like manager plus plus in, in this industry. And when you're doing multiple projects, that's nuts. So I do wonder if that contributed to some of the weaknesses that we feel are there in the writing.
Possibly. Of course, the staff and the cast and the writers didn't get along. People were constantly coming in and out, so it was all messy. So it was probably a combination of everything happening at once in that situation. So I think it was a combination of that, what you just said, but him being overwhelmed and everything else.
But regarding Penny, on the other hand, though, this was, being her last for the series. We had mentioned before that part of the strength of Penny's prior episodes that she directed is that she made them more focused on other characters. And so Laverne is present, but she doesn't have to do a lot, whereas here it feels like she's having to be on camera, on set, doing a lot more.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, even though it has many of her trademarks and details, like some of the elements of her timing and stuff like that, I wonder if that's also part of the struggle with this episode, is that she's a little, again, also similarly stretched thin.
I think, it's very claustrophobic. This is a claustrophobic episode. None of the other episodes feel that claustrophobic. And it's very true. This has more Laverne in it than any other episode that she directed. Squiggy in Love is very Carmine, Shirley, and Squiggy-centric, and Laverne appears, in, I think, 3 scenes. Something like that. And that's mostly ensemble stuff. And then, obviously, Duke of Squig when the girls are gone. Except for one scene. Dating Game is about, at least mostly, about the boys. And the girls do appear in, the framing shots. You get that, all in one day.
Oh, yeah. Practically a half day, like a 5 or 6 hour day, and you got it. Yeah. You got everything.
Yeah, they're in the opening scene, and then they have the framing shots with them and the boys.
Right.
Sonny and Carmine, the other boys. On their little day.
Yeah, right.
R.I.P. Sonny.
Oh, man. Yep, never to be seen again.
Died face down in a plate full of spaghetti.
Wow.
He just sky dove into that spaghetti, and that's the end of him.
Yeah. I was gonna, to finish up the Penny Marshall aspect thing, because this is gonna be the last chance we're gonna get to talk about her as a director.
Yes.
What's interesting about this as well, I'm kind of curious about this experience on the show, especially because as we're going to get into, and as you have discussed with me before, Penny had to take over a lot more of the burden of the show because it seems like she sort of focuses on acting again. Like, even after the show wraps, she was working on possibly directing Peggy Sue Got Married when it was the Deborah Winger in the leading role thing.
Yep.
And it wasn't until she had to come in for Jumping Jack Flash that she actually came back to really like directing something seriously.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of curious as to whether that's another interesting aspect of this kind of being sort of a turning point where either Penny is starting to realize that trying to balance being in the show and directing the show is becoming too challenging because, it's just, life is just getting complicated. That's, life just being life.
Yeah.
And on top of that is that her responsibilities on the show from season 7 and onwards become much more demanding.
Yeah. Well, what happened was around then, she was still in the middle of dealing with the fallout that had happened to her the year before, while it was going on personally. When she ended up doing a Jumping Jack Flash, it was a complete fluke. They needed her in there as an emergency person.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to go to somebody else completely. And she was friends with Whoopi Goldberg. So go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, my understanding of the story that even either Penny or Whoopi had said, I think I saw one of them say this in an interview, they were already like a week or two into shooting, and it was disastrous. Yeah. They were getting the rushes back, and the producer was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why they replaced him.
Yep.
So the replaced person was in charge. They did it, Whoopi was hanging out with Penny on her birthday.
That's right.
And that's what happened, because Penny moved to New York after Laverne and Shirley wrapped. She said, in fact, we'll get there what she said about season 9 that didn't happen. When we get to the end of the show, and I do my season 8 preamble. But she'd moved to New York after the show wrapped. She had a nice new apartment, big old condo. And she was happily settling down there, and that's when she got the offer.
Interesting.
And she went for it. And
it's,
after that, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, we're both going in the same direction. I mean, we're both converging on, it gets to, Jumping Jack Flash gets her back to directing, but man, she goes skyrocketing with the next one.
Yep, big happens. Then the cascade, everything builds. And then Writing Cars the Boys gets horribly mismarketed, and that's what puts a kind of halt on her big screen directing career.
Yep.
Doesn't do as well. And she ends up going back to TV and making documentary films. And that's what she did before she passed away.
Yep. Yeah, because she was working on that documentary I saw about one of the women's baseball manager, right?
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. Her last one was actually about Dennis Rodman.
Well, that was the last one that was finished, but I had seen that she was apparently doing work or research on something about, oh gosh, I didn't take down this note, but it was... Actually, go ahead and hold, because I'm gonna look this up, because this it's one of those when I find it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that one. But
I think I know what you're talking about, because that also came up when they talked about the League of Their Own TV reboot, because the producers actually did speak to her before she passed.
Correct. About
the show, and she was 100% approving of them doing it, 100% approving about them expanding the focus beyond the characters she had introduced. So.
That's right. It was Effa Manley. She was doing, I guess, work on a project about developing a biopic of Effa Manley, which would have been excellent. Gosh. She would have done an amazing job.
Yeah. Penny passed away too soon.
Yeah.
I'll say that. So as we bring this back into the episode and talk about what's going on in the episode, this is pretty much where the Flanderization of Laverne as a sex pot who has no caution and will basically sleep with any man starts.
Mm-hmm.
It pretty much starts with this episode. Nobody has ever said it as blatantly. Line starts here.
Yeah, that
kind
oh my
of
god. I have questions. Who wrote that line? Who wrote that line?
Yeah. Probably Jeff. But it starts here, and it starts getting worse and worse and worse during season 7, season 8, until it reaches this acme in a way that is jaw-dropping. And then they kind of calm it down, put her back into a regular relationship, which unfortunately does not blossom for reasons we will address later on. But this is the start. This is pretty much the point where everybody, they just said, well, all of Laverne's friends are going to make fun of her for being sexually forward. This is the start.
Yes, indeed. It's like it's all oohs and ahs. That's how it starts, and then later there's flanderizing and slut shaming.
Mm-hmm. Later, there are married men and aircraft carriers. That's all I will say.
Oh God. Anyway, as mentioned, it's multiple layers of
Ick.
yeah,
Imperfection.
yeah, and that oh God, the dog trick that he humiliates the girls with the dance. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I, oh my God.
If she doesn't know her last name, good luck with moving her feet.
Wow.
Please, please, please. You dated Bubble Schneck, Carmine. Be quiet.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that Carmine specifically mentions that he and Lenny and Squiggy went through high school together. With the girls, it's just plain school.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I wonder if Carmine kind of transferred in, because we also know that Shirley and Carmine were high school sweethearts all the way through high school. So
Which
it's
yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say that it's quite possible that Carmine transferred to Milwaukee, moved to Milwaukee at 14, 15.
That's what I wonder. Because we really, I mean, that's the catch with Carmine is we learn so little about his family, his background, his history.
Yep,
It just
yep,
and
yep.
it's frustrating because this is again a character
Yeah.
that would have been nice to have
Yeah.
pulled more into it, you know,
Yeah.
because especially at a point like this where they're really trying to develop
Yeah.
his character, you have to know where he's
Yeah.
been to know where he's going.
Yep, yep. And even in season 8, where we basically have three main characters, four main characters basically to count, Frank. We have four main characters to work with that the people are familiar with, and we still don't get underneath the skin enough, So, it's annoying. It annoys me. But the boys turning their eyelids inside out for the Arbor Day pageants.
Yeah, look it
I
up.
want to know what they were trying to establish. What the heck were they trying to do? Just by turning their eyelids inside out.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be ears of corn, I guess, like eyes of a potato.
Possibly. Look at my eyelids, Laverne. I did laugh at Tragic Tango Accident though.
That was good.
That was almost like the show making fun of itself with the fact that they don't really discuss how the heck Carmine lost his dance studio. So
Yeah, it's still. God, that could be a flashback episode for fuck's sake. Come on, show. Give us something here.
That would have been interesting. But we do not go there. I like Rhonda as a voice of reason to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one providing logic here from the outside, from an outsider's perspective again, because everybody else is too enmeshed in their own feelings.
Yeah, I mean, not that I give a shit, but yeah.
I know you're not happy with Rhonda. You'll see how you feel about her in season 7. She starts to become more of a character in season 7. So especially there's some very nice episodes that she gets to play a supporting part.
That's good enough. It is the. Well, the problem I also have with the way that Rhonda is used here as the voice of reason is that, as again said, it would be interesting to see if this becomes a way to look into her, to see that she's a tall, leggy, gorgeous blonde with with a gorgeous figure and an attractive look, meaning she is a cliche. She is a cliche bombshell. And I've known cliche bombshell women. There are and that's not a diss on any of them. They're beautiful. They're wonderful people. Most of them are highly freaking intelligent, which Rhonda actually does come off as very intelligent to me. But what can happen is that you have to, those types of people also have to learn very quickly and very seriously that the world is going to make fun of you. You have many different ways of choosing how to react to that. The way that Rhonda's used here to sort of make it almost belittling that you're just not getting the joke, doesn't matter that your feelings were hurt, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That feels like the wrong angle to take.
Yeah. Now, see, I can sympathize with her to a degree because I know I can picture her as a young wounded actress having to go through a ton of bullshits in Hollywood. A ton of it. And so she's got her hard shell and she doesn't know how to take off her hard shell to a degree. She starts doing it, like I said, as time goes on. But at the moment, she's like, well, you guys can take hearing shore leave. You can take hearing Port Laverne. You can take hearing Windex and all this stuff. If I could take all the things that happened to me, so I can almost understand.
But and I guess what I mean is, it's never phrased in that way. That's to me is making a stretch as to what it actually. The content of the episode does not match the
What they want to say.
Yeah, what they exactly.
Possibly.
Yeah, what they possibly want to say. Because we're even conjecturing at this point, unfortunately, about whether that is the case. Because it may get better. I don't know. I don't personally know, but yeah. So.
Okay, we will see how you feel by the end of season 7. Like I said.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Long Live the Big Canary was cute. Eddie's final scene is really nice. He does sing "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" very nicely. Though this is probably, you said you didn't like this performance by him, but when we watched the first time, but I don't know if your opinions changed.
I don't remember. And to be honest, when I rewatched this, I kind of skimmed more than seriously rewatched, because we had a lot of episodes to cover for this session, so I was just trying to rush through things. Yeah, it's the his performance is fine. I mean, it's a case of actually, what does my notes even say? I think it pretty much just covers the thematic. I think the problem was that I checked out. This is yet another episode that there's a certain point I checked out and just stopped caring. And this unfortunately is another episode where I just, he is enough of an asshole that I just could not give a shit about anything that happens after that, unless it's, I don't know. I don't know if this is, me being picky and just being, because, I reserve the right to have my opinion and be able to say that, this show needs to make me happy somehow. It's like, we're going to entertain you. Fine. Entertain me. Thrill me, so.
We'll get there.
And yeah, thankfully a few more episodes.
Sing is coming.
I know. Well, we got Bardwell Caper next, so we got that.
Bardwell Caper, yes, definitely, yeah. There's a few more. There's a few more coming, and something interesting to note about the last episode of season 6, which we'll also be into in the next batch. But yeah, for me, it's the weakest of Penny's episodes by far.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there need to be more resolution. And the resolution need to be spaced out. So really, the acme of Penny's directing is either on the show specifically, is either Duke of Squigman or it's Dating Game, because God, Dating Game is just one punch after the other. You almost can't catch your breath for laughter in Dating Game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then Duke of Squigman's got so much a mixture of hilarity and pathos, almost
pathos is so good, so strong.
Exactly, it's this tightrope walk that's just so good.
Yep. And Squiggy in Love is no slouch. It's a very good episode. Very good insight into Squiggy, some of the best Carmine and Shirley stuff in the whole show. So, yes. Yeah. So this is probably her weakest effort on the show, but it's not, her fault. It's the way it's scripted, honestly. Yeah, and the limited framing work. There's a couple of nice shots in it, I will say that. Specifically when she takes shots of all the people watching Carmine and all the hecklers, that's really good. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, we'll get into this, I think, in the next episode more thoroughly. But what I really have been impressed by with season 6, even though it really is I'm at the point I'm just tired of it, but it is visually the most elaborate so far of the show, because it does things with the camera work and the coverage. Because even as you say, those shots are really nice, because one of the things that's kind of cool is they look more naturally lit. Because I've, when you go to a real comedy club, they are, dimly lit little cigar huts, basically. And
yeah.
And just the way the lighting sculpted by the studio lights, it's it looks, I guess what I mean is it doesn't look like a sitcom, Yeah.
It looks authentic because Penny and Rob used to go to comedy clubs. That's how they originally, Rob went, hey, let's go to this comedy club, see my friends, the Credibility Gap. That's how Penny met David and Michael.
Wow.
That's how Penny met David and Michael.
Damn.
As we addressed 2 years ago. Yeah. They used to go out, for evenings out, and he said, let's come meet my friends from college, because that's where he met David and Michael the first time. He met them at Carnegie. Well, actually, he met David first. David was, I think, in NYU. I'm going to have to ask this from PAX, and I might have to loop it later. David went to NYU. The two of them separated. Michael left college and went to go be a hippie for a while, and traveled around with the Left Bank as a traveling stand-in guitarist vocalist. He became the traveling Left Bank member. And then he met Rob when he came through New York next time. He met or in California, maybe even in California. I gotta look at his blog again. I will figure this out. But yeah, he had met him, and that's how Penny met the guys for the first time. They went to go see the credibility gap, go improv their butts off. That's how she saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the flavor of that, watching this.
Mm-hmm.
The direction is good in its limited scope of visuals, but even though it's not perfection.
Yeah, it's a case of the execution is really trying, just the material isn't there. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not ready. It really is not ready.
The flaw is the writing. The flaw is the writing here. 100% the writing, not the performances at all. Everybody's working their butts off. Penny's direction's good. It's the writing here, kids. It's the writing.
Because if anybody's trying to say, oh, well, we always just took these episodes as one-offs, blah, 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 it's episodic content, what have you. First of all, do not use the C word with me. Secondly...
Content?
Yeah.
Content.
Yeah! God,
Content.
no. Stop.
Content. I was trying to say it sexy. Content. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I could never see Shirley, with the sisterhood she has for Laverne, still being with Carmine when he tells a room full of strangers that her best friend is a slut.
Pretty much.
I can't. That would make that for me as a viewer. I would just be like, I don't want to watch another episode with this character. If Shirley allows this to happen, I'm not okay with that.
Oh, it gets worse because everybody keeps, you're easy going. Things like that happen as season 7 goes along. Everybody acknowledges that Laverne is, and then Laverne backs it up by sleeping with men she doesn't know.
I mean, that's just stupid.
Married
No. Yeah, we got it.
I shouldn't slut shame her. I shouldn't slut shame her. No.
Yeah, but it's.
I'm not gonna slut shame her. It's just that.
No. It's not that. It's that this is stuff for, a year from now. Like I've had most of this spoiled for me anyway. It's just it's.
Oh, worse is you. There are things I have kept carefully to my breast. To my bosom.
The main thing is, we're okay. So we've bled this stone as dry as at least I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything else note-wise for us to discuss about this one?
No, I was gonna say my last note is kill him, break off his dick about Carmine. I'd like to apologize once again to our Carmine fans.
Here's the thing. I will apologize to the Carmine fans for this. I'm so sorry you had to have this episode happen to your character. That's the thing.
Oh God, yeah. Multiple episodes like this happened to Carmine fans. I feel for them.
Exactly. Because I can't see our Carmine fans being okay with his behavior. He does redeem himself. He tries to redeem himself. Yes. I mean, it is a very sweet gesture that he quits immediately because he realizes how much he hurt them, which is good. But it also is it is a created situation that didn't have to happen and happened because of a writer, not because of a character's natural point of being. It was a way for writers to dunk on the actors and the characters that they had created, and a way to be like, haha, we're poking fun at things, haha, we're making it about insult comedy, ha ha ha.
You need to learn how to laugh at yourself more.
Yeah, laugh at yourself more, because, we need to just laugh at people. We need to laugh at everything, because nothing matters, because the whole world's going to blow up in a nuclear war in the 80s anyway. Oops, it's 2022 and that didn't happen, and, fuck. God, I'm sorry.
Anyway. I think it's time to rank the episode.
5.5. I'm done.
I'm going lower than you with a 5 because this episode makes Carmine look atrocious. There is some funny moments. The opening scene's adorable. A couple of the when everybody starts to tease each other afterwards is good. David's monologue is great. Eddie's "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" is very nice. So it's like, if you could cut 3 scenes out of this episode and watch it, I would recommend you do it. But otherwise, it's not necessary. It's Penny's weakest episode. It's completely skippable. So that's my little point. That's my take.
Yeah, no, I agree that there are many things. That's why I would go higher for a 5.5 is that the quality of the bits that work is really good. Like,
Yes.
this is another one of those frustrations of like, I don't think this is a good episode per se, and yet you see the building blocks of a great episode.
Yeah.
And that missed opportunity is it's like, okay, to be the fucking film nerd that I am, I'm going to mention Paul Greengrass's The Bourne Supremacy. The final car chase in Moscow is an absolute editorial disaster. It is the worst edited car chase I have ever seen. I still don't know what happens in it, but when you see the shots that actually are allowed to linger and show the audience what's happening, it looks incredible because a lot of it's most of it's practical. And it looks amazing, but you can't see any of it. You see like 10% of what was shot. That is what it feels like here. Is the 10% of that potential is really seen, and it's because I mean, again, the zingers, the one-liners, the lighting, the directing, the warmth of some of these characters, the some of the jokes and how whole hog they go into it. But it's instead it's held back by mean insult comedy, slut shaming bullshit. A portrayal of Rhonda that is too surface level to be interesting to me, or at the very least for me to be forgiving to her behavior, and has multiple casually racist stereotypes. So yeah.
The weird racist. Like we get a glimpse of two guys sitting there wearing turbans. I think they're supposed to be chic, but I imagine that this is like a reference to what was going on at the time culturally with the Iran.
Yeah.
So, it's all awkward. The racial stereotypes is awkward. It could have used another rewrite. Because if you're going to be that mean to the girls, they could have been equally mean to the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he winds up and then he just punches his own girlfriend in the stomach. I mean, like, yeah. If you're Shirley Feeney, do you ever date Carmine Ragusa again after he tells the world that you're frigid? Especially after you have apparently gone far enough with him that he knows that your boob socks are not real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has touched her breasts, but he rewards her by telling her she's frigid. So, geesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a mess of an episode. Not the best.
Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
All right. Well, okay. We'll have our little quick break for sponsors on the podcast version of this episode. Dear God, I have no idea if any of this is going to matter. And then
Everything
we'll be right.
matters in the end.
God, it doesn't, does it?
It does.
All right. Well, anyway, with that all done, thanks for joining us once again for Night After Night. If you would like to know more for some reason, you can find us at Night PC on Twitter or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, Facebook, WordPress, or Patreon. You can send us some doolars if you want to get these episodes a day or a week early, actually, if you would like, as well as other exclusive content and updates. And we definitely do a lot of activity on the Twitter page at the moment. We do watch-alongs and animated GIFs, as I'm apparently being told is the way I'm supposed to say it, because people are pedantic about phrasing and don't allow the authors of a word to actually come up with the pronunciation of the word anymore. And anyway, so... I swear to God, like, I'm going to go full Joker and commit a heinous crime if this keeps up. What do we have next week?
A non-heinous crime occurs. The girls recruit their friends and family to retrieve a nasty note they left behind at Mr. Barwell's desk. But much daring do will be performed before the girls can see the light of day. This is both parts of Bardwell Caper.
Yay.
Yeah. Yay. Now remember, kids, don't insult your friends in their faces. Talk about them behind their backs. That way they can't ruin your comedy careers. Bye now.
Yeah, sure. Yay, backbiting.